Well, the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with you.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yes, we are doing excellently well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Thanks for asking. So, could you talk a little bit about the hybrid children that have human DNA and if and when they will visit Earth?
Yeah, so it's a very large group that there are of hybrid children. Some are living on other worlds, some are living on ships, and some are already there on Earth with you and have been integrating into your society. They are very high vibrational beings, and they're the result of two very different energies coming together to create something that has the best of both worlds. You have the emotionality of the human, which is in your DNA, and that's how it was transferred into the hybrid races, is through the DNA. And then you have the very intellectual, very technological, logical mind of the Zeta coming together with the emotional DNA of the human to create this beautiful coming together of those energies to create the children that have access to both the wisdom and the emotional intelligence that you often in human beings only see one or the other in, or one's more dominant than the other. But there was such a beautiful balance struck with these hybrid children that they are just going around the galaxy now and spreading their higher vibrational energy and showing all the beings throughout the galaxy what is possible when you come together, when you see your differences as something that can create a beautiful combination of energies.
That's interesting. Is it not just, it's also different races, right? It's not just the Zetas.
Well, the Zetas and humans are the primary progenitors of hybrid children that are around. There are other combinations, of course, but they're more rare.
Can you tell me a little bit about my hybrid children?
Well, they are right now on a ship. They are being prepared for integration into human society. They are both playful and curious about math and science, curious about the galaxy, the universe, how it all works. Very quick to play at the drop of a hat. Very curious about you and where they come from as well, and very eager to come to Earth.
Have I met with them in the dream state before?
Absolutely, yes. In the astral plane, you meet with your hybrid children and everyone else who is close to you throughout the galaxy.
That's great.
Yes.
There was a talk with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, and Elon Musk was saying in it that, to my knowledge, there is no direct evidence of alien life on Earth. And then later he says, I would know if there were aliens. And so I guess there are aliens on Earth, or could you talk a little bit about that?
There are a few, yes. It's a small percentage of beings who are 100% extraterrestrial there on Earth, and they don't make themselves known. That's why even a billionaire who can create his own spaceship doesn't know of them, because they are very good at hiding. You have the legend, and we put that in quotes, of Sasquatch, Bigfoot, the Yeti. That's an example of an extraterrestrial that has been spotted from time to time and has left evidence behind of itself, but has the elusive nature of being able to get away from anyone who's trying to capture the beings from that race.
So I feel like people are wanting bigger and bigger evidence as far as extraterrestrial evidence. So in order to say that aliens for sure exist. So what kind of evidence would that look like in order to convince people?
It's going to be almost impossible to convince people who don't want to be convinced, because you live in an age where things can be faked. Things have been faked. And people know that, and know that there's usually an agenda when you're coming forth and trying to prove something to them that they don't believe. So people have to have their own personal experiences, undeniable experiences, before they come around. And those experiences are going to be coming to many non-believers in this year and the next year. And that's really what's going to change things, is not trying to convince anyone of anything. Because scientists have already come out and said that the octopus cannot possibly come from Earth. But it's the type of news story that doesn't really catch fire and go viral. So people don't give that a lot of credence, or it doesn't get in front of enough eyeballs to really make a difference. But there's your evidence right there. It's just that people aren't paying attention.
Mm-hmm. I was curious, why did you recommend that book for me? Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance?
Because of the way that you could be stepping into more of that type of experience for yourself. The way that you could shift into a different way of living your life that is outlined there in the book.
Do you have any other books that you would recommend?
We like The Power of Now.
Do you know who that's written by?
Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
We like The Seth Material.
Is that by the same author?
Jane Roberts.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Those two are dense enough for you to focus on for now.
Okay. You talked about the will of Source in one of your messages, and I guess I'll just read the quote. It says, "You are there to assist in the shift in consciousness as you experience it yourselves, and that is a huge purpose to have in life. That is, in fact, you're fulfilling the deepest desire that Source holds." Could you talk more about that, please?
Source's primary goal in all moments of time is to expand and know itself more directly, more experientially. So, as much as humans like consistency and like to have stability, Source wants things to constantly be changing, expanding, evolving, becoming. And as much as humans like to look outside of themselves for validation, for entertainment, for pleasure, to give you an emotional experience, Source wants you to look within, because that's the way Source operates at all times. Now, all of those things that are happening outside of you are wonderful, and they're not to be dismissed or taken away from you by any stretch, but to go with the flow of Source, you have to go within. And you have to be willing to change, expand, evolve, and shift. Because otherwise you're just trying to hold on to something that was never meant to be permanent, that was never really real to begin with. It's all being made up by all of you all the time. And we are included in that group of those just making up these experiences for ourselves. But the feeling of expansion, that's real. And that's something everyone can tap into more of to align themselves more with Source.
Do you have advice on being a good parent?
Seek to know what the child wants and see if it is something that you can provide so that they can grow and expand. In other words, if it's something that does result in that, if you, using your better judgment, determine that this is something that will benefit my child, then you give more of an opportunity for them to partake in it. But then you also know that there are certain things that if you just let them have as much of it as they want, candy, video games, that sort of thing, screen time, then you know that they're not going to really expand in the way that you would want them to and get to know themselves, or they'll be on such a sugar high that it's going to be hard to get them to go to sleep and that sort of thing. So you have to take all of the knowledge and wisdom that you have, the benefits of having gained from your experience there, and use it to provide them with what you know will give them the greatest advantages in terms of becoming a more full and whole self in this lifetime.
Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about?
We would like for you to recognize how wonderfully well you've been doing there on your journey, and to acknowledge your gifts and abilities that you've tapped into, the willingness that you have to explore yourself in these conversations and in other ways is an indication of how well you're doing. And it's wonderful to be a part of this evolution of consciousness with you. We want to salute you and let you know that we appreciate you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you as well.
Yeah.
I guess we're kind of low on time, but could you explain maybe what you meant by the book as well, before the Zen book?
Let it influence you in the way that you live your life, in terms of what you can glean from it. In other words, you want to read it with that in mind. How is this giving me another perspective, another way of living my life? So you want to be activated by it.
Okay. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Yeah, it's for us as well. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you.